Hey, this is Anney.
And Samantha.
And welcome to Stuff I'll Never Told You, a production of iHeartRadio.
And y'all, we're celebrating today because not only are we here for another amazing happy hour, we're joined again by super executive producer Maya. Welcome back.
Woo! Thank you for having me again.
Yes. Also, y'all, we're actually at the studio. We've had a little bit of a drama.
Oh, no.
But we're excited to be together because we're also coming into season 3 of watching Sex and the City.
Yes.
Yeah, we had a little break. I think it was December was our last one.
It's been a minute.
It's been
a long minute. And of course, because it is the first episode of season 3, we have to have an amazing guest.
Yes, I'm here.
And Maya is here because we've been talking about having her on for a while. And she even brought us, because it is technically a happy hour, she brought us a non-alcoholic hazy IPA from Best Day Brewing, which I'm going to open on mic. So if you don't want to hear this pop open, skip over.
Nice.
Yeah, okay. Okay. I'm going to take a nice sip here.
That was good.
Yeah.
It's tasty.
Mm-hmm.
It's tasty. It's been a minute since I've had a beer because, I've been staying away from the alcoholics. But this is non-alcoholic, so I'll be fully awake, I hope.
But let's not retell what happened after the last day.
We're not going to talk about it. I was not prepared, though. That's the answer to all of that. And yes, we are back. And we're doing something different. I'm so excited. We are in the studio, watching actually in studio while we're recording. I was like, how are we going to do this? Because I don't understand technology. That's what I've discovered.
But it's ready for us.
Yeah,
I mean, this is pretty sweet.
And it's all because of super producer Christina, of course, who's always making the magic happen for us and making us sound much better than we actually do. But as we have said, this is a happy hour. So if you are partaking of anything, please do it responsibly. 1, 2, we are not currently sponsored by any of the things that we're talking about. Of course, things change. Maybe one day people will see the potential and decide they want to sponsor us. So that's the hope, right?
Oh, for sure.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Always here for the ad dollars.
I need to feed my dog.
Kind of literally.
Yeah. I need to feed my dog, y'all. So we are in season 3. So Maya, tell us your experience with Sex and the City. I laugh because you are significantly younger than me.
Yeah.
And that you love this just as much as I do. But it is so outdated.
Yeah.
I'm
It's so
pretty
funny.
shocked.
I think there's a lot of discourse right now, actually, about Sex and the City being on Netflix and Gen Z being exposed to it for the first time.
Yeah.
It's very interesting because Sex and the City was on Bravo in the early 2000s, like all the time. Really before like Housewives was on all the time. It was Sex and the City all the time. So that's how I was introduced to Sex and the City. And so I never watched it in like successive order.
Okay.
But I pretty much saw all the episodes throughout the years. And I definitely specifically remember my mom being like, Sex and the City? What do you know about that?
I mean, that is the question that I have. I'm like, what do you know about
and
this?
my mom is also like a boomer. So like she was like pre-Sex and the City.
Right.
And like, but she knew about it, obviously, because it was so big on HBO. But she was like, what are you watching this? And obviously Bravo didn't have all of the uncut scenes,
It's
so it was like a little bit tamer than the original, but it was still, pretty provocative at the time as well. So I loved it. I mean, I fell in love with the characters. I feel like I'm a Charlotte.
Okay.
In my heart.
In your heart.
I think I'm more of a Charlotte. I'm like a mix of like a Charlotte and a Carrie.
Yeah.
A little bit, I think.
I keep forgetting. I try to usually get our guests to do
The quiz.
And I forgot. So you know what? We're going to do it as a later. I'm going to send it to you, and then we'll have that as a result later time.
Okay, fun.
One of the things I think is hilarious, because I also was introduced to it originally, even though it was in my timeline, but I was very conservative, was through TBS. So it came through TBS.
What? Wow.
Yeah.
It was on TBS?
Yes, ma'am. But you can imagine how edited it was. So like the 30-minute episode was like 15 with lots and lots of ads.
Was it feel like there was like a lot of plot holes?
Well, no. Because I don't know if it was just easy to catch on, or maybe they did an amazing job in the editing, or maybe it's because after watching it, I would buy my own copy. So yes, I have every single DVD, even including the first movie. I had to stop after the first movie.
The first movie was pretty good.
Yeah. At least it tracked.
Jennifer Hudson's character, was that second movie?
No, it's the first movie.
First movie.
Yeah.
Oh, so bad.
It was so bad. She was trying so hard. This was her like acting debut.
It was.
So bless her heart. We still love her character. But yeah. So I got that later. So maybe because I have watched it so much since then, I've forgotten what the TBS version was and understood it.
I feel like the sex was not that integral to the plot.
No, it really. It was just like throwaway scenes.
Yeah, that's true. I guess it's more of a maybe you don't understand when you're younger. Certainly for me, for the few episodes I saw, I didn't really get what was going on. And if I had, then I would have been like, "This, how is this on TBS?"
Right. I think it's quite funny. But I will say for this one, as I was trying to remember where we were, I'm like, okay, season 3, episode 1. I can't remember what that episode is. I'm like, oh, so there are some scenes here. So the fact that we get to gather this together.
Oh my goodness.
Because Samantha is Samantha and she makes it delightfully hilarious. But
a couple times.
Just a heads up, y'all. If any of y'all are watching, like come to watch it and then come back, just so you know, don't watch it around children.
Be prepared.
Yeah, there's some things. But yes, with that, we are in season 3. Before we start, Anney, which I did email you to remind you.
Oh my.
Can you give us a recap of what has happened up until now?
I'm very glad you let me know because I was racking my brain trying to remember. So Carrie broke up with Big and then was like out in the field again and then got back together with him. And then they had a lot of conversations around like him moving and she wanted to leave stuff at his place and he was like, no. And then they like had an I love you fight. And then they broke up again. And then she started dating other people. And then she finds out he's engaged, I think, to a younger woman. And then Miranda met Steve. And they broke up over money, I think. But then they had sex later after they broke up. Oh, my goodness.
You did good. Very good, very good.
She also got an apartment. I remember that.
Yes.
She got an apartment. Charlotte continued to date like guys that I was like, wow, you met him at a funeral. Yeah. And then she fell in with some power lesbians or something. Yeah. And then Samantha did a bunch of stuff. She was at the like S&N club and then all kinds of guys. She got kind of a fight with her like assistant over a Rolodex or something.
Yes, the assistant stole the Rolodex that had all the important contacts. So yes.
Ooh. And then she got like kicked out of some society and then somebody helped her get back in.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
I knew it was a famous person.
It wasn't in the shot at all. Like you just had to imagine him there.
He was there.
He was there in spirit. And speaking of, I remember John Bon Jovi showed up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, there was a lot of talk about all the kinds of things they always talk about. But one thing that stuck out to me is I remember Miranda having that whole I'm tired of talking about guys all the time.
Yes.
And she had a lazy ovary.
Yes.
Whoa. The memories.
Good job. Good job. Those are all very important things later down the road.
Oh.
But yeah, so very good. Very good. Clap.
Yay.
Proud of you. We're proud of you.
Good recap.
She did a great job. So we're coming back with season 3. And as per usual, I usually give Anney the title and get her to predict what she thinks this episode is about. And we do have a famous guest star coming in, FYI, but not everybody might. I don't know. Like I say he's famous, but then like people kind of go back and forth because he was up there for like a split second and then he kind of went away.
Oh, okay. That's
okay.
fun. That's
I know,
a little
right?
teaser.
You're welcome. So the first episode is titled Where There's Smoke. So what do you think this is about?
Oh no.
Predictions, please.
Where there's smoke, there is a fire. See, Christina taught me such a valuable lesson when she came on, which is it's like the obvious thing, but I can't think of where there's smoke, there's fire. Something is wrong. I think something's wrong in multiple cases. And perhaps in one case, an STI.
Whoa. That's not a...
I mean, I could see where you get that. I could see where you would get that.
It's got this... I think all of them are going through a crisis of some sort, and one of them, it might be more literal than I'm grasping.
Okay. We're going to go with that. And because it is beginning of season 3, do you have any predictions for season 3 in general?
I feel like somehow Big and Carrie are going to end up back together. Wait, is this when Aiden shows up? I've been waiting for Aiden.
Oh, no
I do love
spoilers.
Aiden.
We all love Aiden. I think we're all team Aiden, aren't we?
Yeah.
Well, I don't like Big, so I...
No.
Well, yeah, the Big... He dies, so whatever. Spoiler alert.
He's dead.
Just so for y'all, not anytime soon. No. Just FYI.
He's old.
Wow. Okay.
Anyway, all right. I like the predictions.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's very simple.
Let's get into it.
Okay.
This is good. We're actually crossing water to meet men.
Reminder, I am not going to Staten Island to meet men. I am going to judge them. One of the
Staten Island.
Has anybody ever been there?
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you
the
have?
ferry is free.
Oh.
I'm like too proud to have said that.
You knew something. You're excited.
It's about time I knew something.
Oh, I think this is the beginning where Sarah Jessica Parker gets credited as producer and getting more money because it's becoming more and more successful. All right, this is where I laugh about like iconic, like male and female gaze.
Yes.
That's the guess.
Maybe it's just the time and like what was attractive.
Right.
But the firefighters,
they are not my appeal.
they're not that cute.
Like, all of them are thick
Like, that
shoulders.
guy was the cutest guy, and she gave him a 5.5.
5.5.
That's rough, you know.
All the halves. But I think it has something to do with like, or think about the romance covers of way back when with like Fabio and such. Like he would be that level.
Yeah.
Like even though
Chunky.
like yeah, they weren't as defined. Like today, like we've now acknowledged that a lot of women are all good with the dad bods.
Mm-hmm.
We are all good with the dad bods. But like the 6-pack is more impressive with the leaner cut.
Yes. Yeah.
And what's with all those half points? 6.5, 8.5.
What can I say? Sometimes a girl needs a half.
Sometimes a girl needs a half.
What does that mean?
I have no idea what that means.
You know, you don't want to make a full decision. You can't give them the high, so you're the in between. Can't quite decide.
It's very Carrie.
That was much less sexual than I was thinking.
That's a very Carrie answer.
Officially,
Yeah, that's true.
it's 245 East 73rd Street.
District 23.
She's just giving out her address willy-nilly.
Yeah.
I don't know you, bro. You're not getting
No.
my address, even though you can Google me.
You have to work for it.
And the
At
yellow
least do it
pages.
yourself.
So can I get your phone number? Government purposes only.
He already has her address.
I mean,
I
yeah.
know.
What does he need a number for?
To show up, man.
The address comes out first. I've never...
You know what, though? It's not quite the can I get your email or Instagram level, which is the new.
Right.
I hate that.
Yeah. No?
I don't like.
So your boo didn't pick you up that way?
Oh, no.
What's your Instagrams?
No. Oh, my God. This is pre-Instagram.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Samantha went home with that firefighter. Toot toot beep beep. I'm Charlotte's around here somewhere.
Okay, Sam went home with the firefighter.
How many cocktails did she have?
A couple? Why?
I love this.
I mean, she's having a great time.
She's let loose.
You know when you hear that song and you just feel it? It's like your theme and anthem, and you just got to get into it and play it out in your head.
The Staten Island.
With the Staten Island
Iced tea.
It's a strong.
that white jacket,
I love it.
tube top, getting it.
I have to say, I understand the appeal of this show in terms of like by the time I was their age, which is not that old, I wasn't doing this stuff that
Oh,
much
no.
anymore.
But like it was this lively show of them not being moms and being with their girlfriends and just living life, like having that moment outside of college.
What I feel like most young 30s are now.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 40s for some. Except we're not going
But
out.
it's more acceptable
to be
this
that's fair.
and at their age than it was then, I think.
Yes.
And uptown on dry land, Samantha and Mr. July had
here we
their
go.
own
The
fire
most,
going.
again, unrealistic scenes.
Wow.
Look, how do you not get panicked about having live flames near you? Who does that?
Whoa.
I love.
Samantha, was that even like sexy? Like, what was that? She was losing it.
At that one point, you're like, "Are you okay?
Right.
Do I need to stop?"
And the guy was just like whipping her around.
Would Snow White have slept in that glass coffin forever? Or would she have eventually woken up, spit out the apple, gotten a job, a healthcare package, and a baby from her local neighborhood sperm bank? I couldn't help but wonder.
Not anymore.
Inside,
Especially not in Alabama.
Oh, God.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
We're bringing it
So
down.
dreadful.
It's true, though.
It is.
Reality
Was
hits.
Charlotte right?
Yeah.
Do women just want to be rescued?
And after
How do we feel about
women
that?
just want to be rescued?
I think people want to be rescued. Like, everybody wants to have someone take care of their worst burdens.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to be rescued
Yeah.
as much as I want you to get me food.
Yeah.
That's
That's
fair.
it.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't necessarily need you to take me anywhere. I don't
Sure.
necessarily need you to make sure I'm healthy. Just give me food.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's nice to have someone to depend on.
Yeah.
I guess the question is more like the stereotypes, but I think it's nice to have someone to depend on. And also sometimes you don't want to be in control all the time. Right?
Yeah. Sometimes you just want to like turn your brain off.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know? I think that's the
Yeah.
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
I'm fine. I do not need anyone to hold my hand.
Oh, God, Steve. Steve's back.
I love Steve. I think he's so like decent most of the time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He made a mistake and
Yeah.
tried to gaslight her.
Yeah.
We won't talk about that later.
Okay.
Till later. But yeah, he is the
Of
good
all the
guy.
guys?
Yeah.
I think I would be with Steve. if I
Yeah.
were-
I've always loved Steve.
Okay, and what am I?
Well, we haven't exactly established that yet.
No DTR yet.
Oh, no.
Are you coming out?
Samantha taught me what that means.
Wait,
Tell her-
DTR?
Do you know what a DTR is?
I don't think so.
Oh my God.
I don't know.
Defining the relationship.
Like I said, my relationship was pre-internet. Like
Yeah.
not internet.
No,
but
this is way
pre-social media.
before.
Was it?
So like, because this was like online dating
Oh, like-
2005.
Oh,
Mhm,
DTR.
mhm. Having a DTR. Girl, you got to remember I'm
Yeah.
good several years.
I'm learning stuff.
To you.
Yeah,
But
Samantha's a
DTR.
font of wisdom.
But
Yeah.
like, this is old school.
Okay. Okay.
So I think this came around like 2010, 2005.
Okay,
It's like
yeah.
when people talking about the DTR. You know, you got to put
Yeah.
initials to everything.
Right. Yeah. Especially at
That
that
was
time.
it. Yeah.
One cab ride and 2 potent sleeping pills later, Steve put Miranda to bed.
All right, okay. No, give me your leg. No, yeah, this leg. No.
Miranda is
I want
like
this leg. Give me the other.
her level of wanting to be independent is
Oh,
like
yeah.
an actual detriment to her.
Yeah.
Like thinking that you're gonna leave LASIK eye surgery
Yeah.
alone
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
is crazy.
I used to jokingly call this the single lady Olympics, where I'd be like, I have to do this by
Yeah.
myself.
What more can I do alone?
At least you have to do it one time to prove to
Yeah.
yourself, and then after that, okay, you can help me.
Yeah.
It's one of those levels.
Actually, this couch is really heavy. My stairs are very daunting.
What I can't stop thinking about now is that there's this discourse about like LASIK being like terrible.
Yeah, people
And
are
like
having
eye
issues with it.
doctors who never get LASIK but give LASIK to other people.
Yeah.
So that made me think about that.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard people talking about the fact that they've had a lot of problems. It doesn't
Yeah.
work. It was reversed later on. All these
Headaches
things.
and-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I had it, and it's been a long time, and I think it.
It's good.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I still love it.
I've been told by several that my stigmatism is way too intense, and I could. And they gave me alternatives. And it's like, you're never gonna have. I'm like, well, then what's the point?
I don't know what I'm doing.
Okay.
I'm standing here, fully dressed.
All the cordless phones.
Watching that.
I know. I kind of love it though.
Oh yeah.
I feel like we should bring back home phones so you don't have to give out your cell phone all the time.
Yeah. What's so funny to me, I laughed because there was a TikTok video of like, we need to do something where you just have a phone that's a central phone for everyone at home, and everybody's like,
It's called
what the hell?
a home
It's called
phone.
a landline. It's called a landline.
Bring back corded phones. The ones that were on the wall. My grandparents had those. Yeah.
Yes.
My parents still have one.
Yeah.
My parents do too.
Nice pole. Want to see it again?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Samantha rode the pole a couple of times that night.
There's other firefighters in the other room.
Exactly.
And, like, they're in a public transport
And
area.
she's not even like trying to be discreet.
Nah.
This is
She don't
open to
care.
the public.
She don't care.
Like
Whoa.
people walk by.
Yeah.
Well, I should be a fireman because I'm always ready to go.
Yeah, he's on duty. Like, just fully in someone's clothing.
Oh, my God. Move, lady.
Why is she acting
She's like, wait, what's happening?
like, I'm at a fire station? What is happening?
And those are tricky to get out of, you know?
Yeah, obviously.
Like, wow.
And they were already set up for emergency situations.
Oh my. She's doing a pretty good job of like managing all of
yeah,
this.
Yeah,
she's
she
covering
is.
herself pretty well.
She's done this before. Yeah.
Not her first
It's
rodeo.
not her first rodeo. You can tell.
So Annie, you were pretty much wrong. You definitely get like an F on this.
She did say something about they're all
Crisis.
dealing with their own crisis,
Crisis.
maybe literal or not.
All right, that's her throwaway answer. Well, the one answer you typically give is the whole they go to a
club.
party or they go to a club, which I was waiting for that
You
because
missed
that's
it.
also true. I'll give you a D then. I'll give you a D.
Wow.
In your
Harsh.
rating.
Harsh grader,
I'm
harsh.
look,
Yeah.
The STD, even though it was an STI, even though it was a good guess, was way off.
Yeah.
And the fact that there was
off.
no mention of fire or firefighters.
Yeah.
So firefighters, I don't think you would have gotten. That's a big stretch.
You
for
kept
sure.
saying fire.
Right.
But you
know,
missed
right.
the like big piece of
Christina, I need to learn more.
Christina's episode was fairly more on topic because I think that this was a little more like there's no actual fire, there's no smoke.
Right.
Because Christina's was about the batter up or
She was the opening of season 2.
right, in which they go to the baseball game.
Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
And so she's like, they mentioned balls, and she's like, they're going to talk about baseball or ball. So I was like, damn, go
Perfect.
Christina.
Yeah.
But like, and also mentioning of like the balls.
Mm-hmm.
There
Oh,
was
yes.
like,
The
and
other
there
ones.
was. So
Yeah.
like,
Mm-hmm.
she was on it. But this one is a little more, I guess, metaphorical
Metaphorical.
than the other. So I'll give you that. Which
Where
is also
there's smoke. What do we think the title was referring to specifically, other than the fire?
about maybe the rescuing.
Oh, where there is smoke, there's
Yeah.
like distress. and-
Yeah, in
Yeah,
general,
okay.
like that's what because like there was a lot of conversation of rescuing. So you would have
Mhm.
thought that would have been like something different in that level.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, I guess all the men in this episode at some point were attempting to enact some sort of rescuing or an
Right.
idea of what rescuing looks like, or playing into a fantasy in Samantha's point.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's like, okay. In this point, we do see where there's a fear of not having a rescuer, and then
Mhm.
there's a fear of having a
Yeah.
rescuer. You have
Mhm.
that two very distinct, complicated
Mhm.
Mhm.
crisis, as you would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I think a lot of the conversations that they were having in this specific episode are pretty relevant
Yeah.
to today.
Yeah.
You know, I think a lot of women are in this particular place where, you know, it is more we've gotten to a point where it is more acceptable to be an independent woman, but then you get to a point where you're like, "Oh, wait, like if I want these things, companionship or friendship or family with another person, whatever it is, like, how am I going to get that? Does that mean I have to sacrifice on my independence? Or,
Right.
I think this was a very relevant episode, I would say, as far as most of them go.
I think we're also having that conversation because the trad wife thing is coming back real quickly. So you've had the two extremes, because for a minute, for a split second, there was this understanding that you do want it all. And what does that mean? And it's okay to be a stay-at-home mom. That's not a problem. That's not the problem at all. It's the choices of whether or not you can and whether you want to. Both of those are in conversation. And now it's kind of like back into the extreme of like, well, we have to combat what Tradwise is doing in that level of like, you are telling us that we are wrong for not wanting to be a mom, for making bread at home and telling everybody I listen to my husband type of conversation in a very heteronormative conversation. So like it feels like this was in the moment of like starting to understand that it's not a bad thing to want to be a stay-at-home mom. It's not a bad thing to not want to be a stay-at-home mom, to want to be married, to not want to be married, to take a last name, to not take, like all these like complicated conversations, and like the understanding that feminism, or especially when it comes to intersectionality, is the choice. That's the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I think to your point about trad wives, I think it's very interesting, especially when you bring in the intersectional piece, is that, there's some people who are being pointed to as like this epitome of trad wife culture, but they're actually kind of the antithesis, because they don't fall into the white, Anglo-Saxon, stereotype of what a trad wife would be. So in some sense, it is kind of like a rebellion of sorts to be able to occupy this, visual of what a trad wife might look like, but in a body that doesn't represent what it would have been. So it's like there are all of these different rethinking of like what is possible and what that means and what's okay and what's not. Like I think sometimes we are so in the point of like, we want women to be independent and be able to take care of themselves, that like seeing someone be reliant on a partner feels aggressive in the other sense of like, you're pushing against my freedom in some way.
Yeah, and definitely the conversation. I think again, it comes back to like, no, the bottom line is choosing. Do they have the freedom to choose in either way? It's like the other conversation is that with this whole, especially when cis men come into play and having this conversation of like, you're not going to get married and you're gonna regret these things, and you're not going to have children and you're going to regret these things. No one's going to want you after this point in time, and telling women they have a timeline. But then like having that also conversation of like, yeah, I would love to be the housewife, as you would call it, which is really outdated. Yeah. In that I stay home, you actually do bring all of the money, and then I will be that partner for you
to like do whatever I want.
Exactly. Like that is a great ideal, but that's no longer what like is expected. It's like, no, we do 50-50, and then I do 80% of the housework. I'm like, that's
100.
Yeah, exactly. I was trying to make it real nice, but I'm like, because at the very least, you need to go mow the yard. Like, or some like very gendered ideas in that level. Yeah. But like that's that conversation of like, okay, but what does this look like? Because in the end, like for a lot of women who have, and I'm putting this, when I say women, I'm including all women, people, marginalized communities, knowing that they can't rely on anyone else because they've been told or they've seen an evidence in their life that it's not going to be that way. And so part of the thing of not relying is not because they don't want to, it's because they can't, they don't trust it, or they've been burned. Yeah. That's a whole different conversation in this. Because like Miranda, I think, has that level of both of those things. And like, I don't completely trust you. Because to be fair, Steve walked away because he was very insecure about not making as much money than her. Because she was all in round one. You know, and he's the one that left. He felt emasculated when she's like, I'll just buy you the suit. Yeah. To an event. You know, like this is like that level of like, okay. And then coming back in. So she's not fully going to invest. I wouldn't either. I'm one of those two, like in that I'm that Miranda level, which for the longest time I thought this is not a good thing. I don't want to be Miranda. I am in Miranda in that like if you burn me, I'm gonna be very cautious. Yeah, I'm gonna be very cautious. I'm still a Libra, so I'll give you a chance until you
I'm
get
a Libra too, so
you know,
I feel you there.
I'll give you some leeway for a while, but if it gets too, then I shut down.
I do think it's interesting. One of the things in watching this show now is so many times things that were romanticized then are not now.
Yeah.
And so in this case, like, I do feel like Charlotte's violent fellow, well, at the end, she realized he was bad, but that was kind of like a romanticized, oh, the guy's going to protect you, he's going to step in. You've got this stalker guy, which was romanticized for a long time. And then, like, yeah, Miranda on the other side, I did that too because, like, literally with the eye thing. Because I was afraid, like, saying yes would mean more to him than it meant to me. Even if I was very clear, like, that's not what this is about.
True.
But he'd be like, oh, yeah, and totally, I get you. And then they get home and it's like, can I kiss you now? And you're like, no.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
You're doing the thing.
I told you, and she did. She was like, we don't know what we are.
Yeah.
The DTR.
DTR.
The DTR.
Never forget.
Yeah.
The DTR, because she was like, you know, we haven't established. And she's also saying that to the friends. She's like, there's no having of the Steve. Which is the line in that, like, you have Steve.
He literally slept in her bed.
Yeah.
But we know, and that's the other part in that conversation. Like, we've come a long way with women being able to be sexually free and being like, that doesn't mean I have to commit to you. Just like you might not commit to me.
Yeah, I mean, with Samantha, that was nice where she was like, you know, this is my fantasy. Dudes do it all the time. And
Let's go.
Yeah. She did it.
Also, that guy was like very... like he had nothing going on in his head. So like, I don't think he would have caught on anyway.
I don't think he cared. He was nice, but he was like, hey, yeah,
I'm into
it. All right. So, Anney, we have had what just happened. Do you have any predictions of maybe things to come?
Well, I don't know. I don't know how long the Slattery guy is going to stay around. I think Steve is gonna get back into the picture. I'm now convinced Aiden will show up, but I don't know when. It might be a mid-season reveal. I do feel bad because I'm doing the thing that Miranda complained about. Like, I'm assuming guys are gonna come into the picture. That's my prediction.
I mean, it is fair, seeing as like the show is kind of about, you know, friendship, of course, but also the relationships that they're in.
But it's like, it's also very heteronormative, like very like that level, except for one episode that is coming through that's ridiculously problematic. Like, you're gonna be offended.
Okay.
It's bad.
It's bad. like one of those.
I've heard tell of this one.
Like, let me not speak too soon.
Yeah, like it's in that level of like they're trying to be open. You could like, it's one of those badly placed like.
You're like, by season 3, critics were probably making. I don't know. Maybe not at the time. Maybe they weren't like representation.
No, it wasn't. They wanted representation, but it was all kitschy, tokenish representation. And then they were trying to make it a joke, which is what we've seen a lot. Like, one of the big problematic episodes I remember from 30 Rock is similar to this, in which she talks about, like, she's giving out love advice. And then they're like, you know, he's bisexual. She's like, there's no such thing.
Yeah.
It's just a layover to Gay Town or whatever,
like,
is how she says it. I think that's what she says. But like, it's so problematic. You're like, oh, but they're trying to be funny. And that's kind of what Sex and the City does too, from very queer staff. Like, we know that the creator is a queer man, and so it's kind of like, oh, you didn't think that one through.
Yeah, but also at the time, I think like in the community, there was probably just more acceptance of that as well.
Right.
You know?
That's true.
So there's so many things, but yes, I think we got the predictions. I'll put it in my head that I will not forget.
It. Yeah.
Maya,
amazing.
What'd you think?
I really liked this episode. I think it was kind of it was a soft launch. Is how I feel about for a season opener. It was like a nice easing in.
Yeah.
You know, nothing too crazy, but I felt like, you know, we really got a good sense of where everybody is currently, like where their consciousness is, where everybody's thinking, and like that lays the groundwork for the rest of the season. Yeah, I mean, I loved it. I mean, I haven't watched the show in so long, so it was fun to.
I'm glad to bring you back in.
Yeah, to get back in, and like, maybe I'll watch the rest of the season. I don't know.
So I do eventually think, since now that we have had the entire team in at least one episode, we need to come together, maybe the season finale or something, and have a whole like viewing with all of us.
Ooh,
that would be so good.
And we've already talked with like trying to get Joey in on it too, because we were talking about them bringing them in to watch the final Twilight.
Oh my God. Okay. I need to brush up on Twilight because I specifically recall falling asleep in the second movie because I was dragged to the midnight showing by my friend at the time.
Right.
So I do not remember anything.
Oh.
But yeah.
That might be even better though.
Yeah.
To have the reaction to be like, oh yeah, oh no, oh yeah.
Yeah. Good mix.
Well, thank you so much for sitting in with us, for providing this lovely beverage that has allowed me to stay awake.
Thank you for having me again.
Yes.
For welcoming me back.
Yes.
It was so fun.
Yeah.
I have missed these, so I'm excited to get through the season and see where it goes. Yes, listeners. Welcome back. If you have any thoughts about this, you can let us know. You can email us at stuffmediamomstuff@iheartmedia.com. You can find us on Twitter at momstuffpodcast or on Instagram and TikTok at Stuff I'll Never Told You. I also forget we have YouTube. If you want to go over there, you can. We have a TeePublic store and a book you can get wherever you get your books. Thanks, as always, to our super executive producer, Maya.
Yeah.
Yes, in studio. Our super producer, Christina.
Thank
also
you.
in studio. Yes, Joey, who hopefully will be here
eventually
soon.
In studio.
Yes, eventually in studio. Our excellent contributor. And thanks to you for listening. Stuff I Never Told You is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, you can check out the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your favorite shows.